What's going on, guys? So I'm back again with another video, and my current trainee Dex was asking me about lease. He just wants to know about lease. This is gonna be the first time that I've actually sat down and actually compiled a bit of information all at once about this. So, and there's a lot of similarities between lease and owner-op, and there's a lot of differences, and it also depends on the company that you're leasing from. So just keep that in mind. We're gonna go over some of the basic stuff with Prime, but you know, some stuff could be similar, some stuff could be different at different companies. So, and a lot of these methods and tips and tricks that we're gonna talk about could actually be used if you're an actual owner-op, you own your truck, you got your own authority. So it's a lot of good guidelines to actually go by, but let's get into it, guys. Thanks for watching. So, you guys are thinking about trucking, you're thinking about company, lease, you just don't know enough about it to worry about it. So you think to yourself, well, I'm just going to go company. And that's a good idea, okay? It really is a good idea to go company for your first year. Make sure that, you know, trucking's for you. Like we've always talked about, it's not a career, it's a lifestyle. You want to make sure that you find that niche that you can actually enjoy it out here on the road, actually what you're doing. So we were riding along today, and Dex was talking to some of his folks, and he just kind of leaned over and he says, hey man, he's like, I'm kind of interested in the lease, you know, about what to know about it, because, you know, I got a buddy of mine, he's saying, hey, you know, get all the information you can. So we're going to talk about that right now, and I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible, but I'm also going to touch up on some pretty important things. Number one, with lease, you need to know your numbers, okay? And numbers consist of your overhead, what you have to pay every single week, no matter what, your fixed cost and your variable cost. Now, fixed costs are going to be things like your permits, your insurance, your truck payments, stuff that never changes. Know those numbers, okay? Now, when it comes to Prime, your fixed cost as far as weekly, now this will vary per operator, and I'm going to throw out just an rounded up number. When I figure in my numbers every single week, I figure in roughly about $1,300, okay? That's truck payment, that's insurance, that's everything, permits, everything for fixed cost. Variable cost comes into play when you start talking about maintenance, fuel, which is the biggest thing that you can actually have any control over is your fuel. We'll get to that in just a second. Any extras that you purchase on ComData, like additives, anything, oil, antifreeze, anything. So if you run anything through your company's card that you're leasing from, which we use ComData at Prime, that's going to be billed to your statement at the end of that week. Now, if you have something that comes up that's a huge amount, and you get with your fleet manager and they get with payroll, and you say, well, we're going to take that $1,500 cost that you had this done to your truck, this done. Say you went to detail, you bought a new box for your truck, you got chain racks for your mud flaps, all right, $1,500. Well, you don't want to pay for all that up front. If you're in good with your fleet manager and payroll, they can actually put that stuff on payments for you here at Prime, okay? Now, that's usually just for the regular lease guys, but the guys that have been here for a long time, you know, those relationships matter with your fleet managers. So it's up to them ultimately. But that's stuff that can actually be put on payments. Now, even though it's on a payment for X amount of weeks, it's still considered a variable cost. Variable cost is, like we said, things that fluctuate weekly. So fuel, we talked about fuel. That is the number one thing that you can actually control other than just extra spending. Prime's fuel system is set up to, and you guys coming through Prime, you're going to do lease, you're going to go through the ACE lease class, the H2 class. You're going to find out that Prime's fuel charge system is claimed that as long as you average 7 miles per gallon or better with your truck, with your lease, you will never pay more than 99 cents per gallon base price before taxes, before any state taxes, for fuel, okay? That being said, the formula makes sense that they teach us, but that being said, I just want to let you guys know, we are on, I think, our fourth week study for that. So I've got 4 weeks of numbers that we're going to be analyzing in an upcoming video about the fuel surcharge program at Prime. So keep an eye out for that one. But guys, the fuel system setup, we have a macro 27 on our Qualcomm. We can actually set up before you start your shift in the morning, in the evening time, throw it up. They constantly have updates on the app of the fuel surcharge, increasing or decreasing. Obviously, we've been looking for that increase since the fuel prices have went through the roof recently. So fuel efficiently, fuel like at the cheapest place along your route, which also comes back to trip planning as well. Trip planning is one of your biggest, I guess you'd say, efficient tools that you can have. The more thorough you trip plan, whether it's watching out for weather, whether it's checking your route, whether it's bypassing the tolls, which are another variable cost, and you have to outweigh those options. Like, what is more profitable for you? The trick to being a lease or owner op is being profitable, efficient, and consistent. Consistency equals efficiency, which equals profitability. So when you're trip planning, say we're going from PA to Utah, which is the run that we're on right now. All right. It's going to want you, your GPS or your routing or whatever, even if your company, is going to want you to run straight 80 all the way across. Well, if you've been trucking anytime recently, you know that through Indiana and Ohio, 80 is a huge toll road. Okay, that's a variable cost that you're going to have to pay if you take that route. So I don't like paying tolls. I'll route down to 30, which is like an extra 76 miles. And I'll bypass all the tolls. A little bit slower, but we run slower anyways to have better fuel mileage. So you got to kind of outweigh like what's actually in your benefit when it comes to that. So that comes with being efficient. So trip planning, keep an eye on your numbers. I keep a tab every single week, weekly summary, my numbers. It'll have my, in fact, if you don't mind, Dex, will you hand me that clipboard? It'll have my trips. I don't know if you guys can see that. My trips, weekly summary, trip numbers. It'll have my customers, where I pick up, where I'm dropping off at, my dispatch miles, actual miles, what the total load is actually paying. I have my fuel, my def, my reefer fuel down here. Any extras will go down here at the bottom. Guys, keep up with those numbers. Some people like doing Excel spreadsheets. Some people like doing old school, doing the paperwork like I do. I like it because it's quick at a glance. You can just flip back, boom, there it is. So numbers, trip planning, fueling, guys, it's super, super crucial to be efficient in your operation every single day. Prime has a motto, every penny counts. Well, it really does. I mean, it adds up. If you're fueling at the right spots, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth in another video. If you're fueling at the right spots, the lowest base price fuel along your routes, not these states that charge extra surtaxes or surcharge different surtaxes based on toll miles, non-toll miles. New York is one, Kentucky, Indiana, Virginia, New Mexico, Oregon. Like, I don't fuel in any of these places at all, never have. Another great thing about Prime when you start talking about fueling is IFTA. Prime will audit your IFTA automatically every 3 weeks. So you don't have to pay an accountant to do that. They will automatically audit your IFTA taxes every 3 weeks, which will generally, if you're fueling in the right spots and you're always fueling at that lowest base price per gallon mark along your routes every single week, you're going to see generally $150 to $400 return, depending on if you're solo or lease. That's like an extra bonus every single 3 weeks. So be looking out for that as well, guys. I hate to interrupt, guys, but you're going to have to stay tuned for part 2. Just wanted to give all you guys a big shout out. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It's your first time watching the channel. Please don't forget to like, sub, and share the videos in the channel. Get that information out there, guys. That's what it's all about. So thank you so much, guys. Stay safe. God bless. Until the next one. Braid out.